And we are back to a new episode after taking a break from the last episode. And in this episode, we are talking about opening yourself up to receivership, allowing support from other people. And I want to share a little bit about my own personal journey, which began back when I was still in high school, or rather after graduating from high school, moving to the capital city and basically becoming an independent woman and wanting to have a job right away as a full-time student studying for my bachelor's degree. And that's when it all began, when I didn't want to be a burden to my family, especially to my father. The reason why I didn't want to be a burden to my father or my family as a whole was because I felt like they didn't have the resources to support me in a way that would not take away from them. So I subconsciously created this zero-sum game within myself that there are limited resources and I shouldn't take away from other people. And if I take something from him or them, then it's just not great for us, even for me. So basically, I felt even guilty to take from other people. And that translated into everything in my life when it comes to dating, when it comes to even feeling like I deserve a promotion, or I deserve to earn more, or I deserve something bigger, because it felt like I'm always taking something from other people. And so all of that, now fast forward to today, is very different because I was forced for the first time since arrival to Brazil to allow that support, because I came here barefoot in a sense, basically not knowing why I came here, what I came here for how long, what I'm gonna do here. Sure, I run my own coaching business and I have established myself in that regard, and I am making a living for the last almost 4 years now as a primary source of income. But when I came here, I realized that there was a completely new level of allowing support that I had to face, because I had a lot of resistance to ask for help in the past. And I had a lot of resistance to accept when someone is offering it to me. On top of that, there were all these stories of how some people do things because they expect something in return, and there's a hidden agenda. And I burned that way as well in the last couple of years, when some people would seemingly do things just simply because they have good intentions. And that's how I personally choose to see the world, that people have good intentions. And then oftentimes it turned out that there were some hidden intentions and there was some kind of agenda that I wasn't aware of. So all of this is a bit of a context of why we decided to unwrap this topic and to talk about how to open yourself up for support. And in fact, it's not a sin and there's nothing to feel guilty about when you allow not just support, but you allow, in fact, to be loved fully, because it's also an act of love when somebody gives something to you with the best intentions and without expecting anything in return. So that's the topic of today. And I'm curious what you have to add right away.
And I want to create a distinction. Like recently, I even wrote a post on LinkedIn about this whole topic, about uh, the distinction between taking and receiving, and giving and gifting. Like the way I distinguished it is that giving has become this very transactional thing in our culture, where you expect something in return. There's an obligation, there's some strings attached to it. Whereas gifting is where you're purely just giving without expectations, without any strings attached, and you're doing it out of love and inspiration and just the genuine kindness of your heart, of your being. And on the other hand, you have taking. You used the word taking just now, and I distinguish again taking and receiving. Taking has become this very self-preserving, selfish, scarcity-based mindset where I take to fulfill my void, to fulfill my needs without really caring about what's going on outside. Whereas receiving is that someone is gifting and you allow yourself to receive that. Because I think also a lot of people have become close to receiving because they have created this mindset that I have to do everything myself.
That
And
was exactly my case.
I just mentioned this to her before the call. Like when I started seeing this in her in the last month or so, we started talking about and started working on it about, really receiving the support and everything. And that's what has led to this call.
Recording.
This this recorded. What I started feeling is that this is much more pronounced for women, especially in the modern day, because of the whole feminism movement. And this has become toxic feminism, where women are expected or programmed to believe that independence is the thing that all women have to achieve. They have to do it on their own. And if they get support, especially from a man, that's a bad thing. And in my opinion, that is ridiculous. Receiving support from anyone, whether it's a man or a woman, like, why are we creating that distinction? Why are we creating that separation? Yes, there is toxic masculinity and there is disempowerment of women and all of that. I'm not denying that. But what is happening is that people are going into extremes, people are going into polarity, which is not healthy, which is not helping the women themselves. It is a sign of strength to be able to receive support, not only when you need it, but also when it's just making life easier. What is the problem with that? You can save your energy and you can do more things when support is available. And it's to realize that men also receive support. There is also this myth or this facade or this mask that men are these independent beings who do everything themselves, and that's bullshit. The reality is interdependence. It's not codependence and it's not independence, it's interdependence, where you are independent and you meet each other in a supportive way. So yes, you can do a lot yourself, but you can do much more when you're doing it together. And to enter that reality where it's not about men and women, okay, we have to heal that toxic masculinity and the toxic feminism and all of this stuff, and then enter the reality where yes, there are healthy men and there are healthy women and there are healthy trans and everything in between and everything around, and we are all supporting each other. It's not one versus the other.
I would like to take it also out of the context of men and women specifically, because I can say that I was not even open to receiving any support from anyone.
Exactly, yeah.
It has nothing to do with gender or relationships or romantic relationships. It's just overall, if you are a powerful human being, then you're doing everything by yourself. That's the story. And so because I saw myself as an independent, powerful woman or human being, then, well, I'm supposed to do everything by myself then, I guess. So that was kind of the narrative that I played out for years and years, until I started realizing that actually it was suffocating me, and it was holding me back and was blocking the abundance from coming my way, where uh, actually it also manifested in the whole addiction to suffering, because I was like, oh, things can go very easily towards me. I can receive amazing things, but no, I have to earn it and I have to do it all by myself. And so this is something that we need to address, consciously asking ourselves, like, do I want to continue suffering, and do I want to continue blocking the abundance and blocking the amazing things that are potentially coming my way if I just basically energetically open myself up to it? Or am I just going to, yeah, do the same thing over and over and over again? So And when it comes to like coming back to the whole men and women dynamic, I remember the days in my early 20s, so basically at least 10 years ago, when I would go out on dates and I would not even allow the man to pay for me. I would be like, no, I can do it myself and I'm independent. And like, who do you think you are? Like, you think I can't pay for myself? And now when I look back, I'm like, that was a gift, like you said. It was nothing more or less than that. It was just someone is offering this gesture to pay for me, and how amazing is that? And then luckily over time, over the years, I realized that it was complete bullshit, and actually I started really enjoying being invited and also enjoying to even pay for my girlfriends, paying for people that I happen to have a meal with, for example, my friends. And it has become this really beautiful way to share, to go through life, that it's not all about me, myself, and I, and my things and my resources. It's like, I want to give this gift, and I feel like buying this little thing for you, or I feel like presenting you with this shirt or whatever it is. It's because it also makes me happy to see you enjoy and have this meal and wear that shirt and do that thing. So yeah, it's something to consciously realize, like, how might I be blocking abundance from my life? How might I be putting myself in a position of suffering, and I don't even realize that I just want to wear this mask of being overly independent, while actually it doesn't serve anyone.
And yeah, I have not really used LinkedIn a lot in my whole life, and only in the last few months I started becoming more active and started checking out more people. And one thing I definitely noticed with women, especially empowered women, is their headlines are so packed. They're just trying to prove how many things they have accomplished and achieved, and how much they're able to manage simultaneously. Oh, I'm a mom of three, and I lead this company, and I do this, and I do that, and I've given talks, and I've done 10,000 things in this tiny headline. And I feel this is not feminism. You started playing the game that men have been playing all their life, is competition. Is trying to prove how macho and great you are and how big my dick is. Like, it's the what is the point of that? This is like honoring.
So in my case, it would be how big my boobs are. They're
No,
really tiny though.
no, like this dick measuring contest is like just a metaphor I'm using. Like this
I
is
know, but for women, I wonder what's the alternative for
no, but
women.
I still call it dick measuring because that's what they are doing, is they're playing the men's game
Mm.
instead of being fully empowered women and getting out of this whole competition mindset. It's about proving how much I can do, how I am equal to a man. Why the fuck are you trying to prove you're equal to a man? You're much better than them. Get out of the competition. Like, what's this whole thing about that I can do as much or more that than men can do? Who gives a shit? Why are you trying to prove that? Who are you trying to prove it to? This is the question you need to ask yourself. Who are you trying to prove this to? And why are you living in that reality where you need to prove something to someone? That unworthiness is programmed into women by men, and you continue playing the game. Get out of that. Do things because you love to do them, and stop trying to prove how much you can do to people, and
Mhm.
enjoy what you're doing. And maybe you don't need to do as much, and that is the next level for you, is do less and have more impact,
Mm.
more concentrated impact in what you love doing, instead of trying to prove the 10,000 things you can do. We get it. You can do it. Now move on. You've proved yourself. Give yourself that validation and move on, because guess what? Men are not going to give that to you.
I love that. That's a great reminder. And I want to also go back to the whole um, receiving support topic when it comes to remaining independent. Because some people listening might be like, oh, but if I receive support, then what if I relax too much? What if I just get used to it and I feel like I become dependent on this person. And I have personally a couple of my clients who are going through exactly that situation where, let's say, one particular person that I have in mind is that she has been dreaming of starting her own business. And for years and years, for decades, in fact, she has been working for someone else, or for basically having different jobs. And as she met this person that she just got engaged with, um, she realized that, you know what, it's the time for me to finally own my new path and really let go of working for someone else, because I know that I can make this work. I know that I want to become my own boss. Now, where's the challenge is that she's so addicted to being independent and paying her own bills and doing everything by herself that it's extremely uncomfortable for her to, at least in that transition period while she's building the business and making it work for her, to receive that support from her husband to be, in fact, who has all the resources in the world. He's definitely more than capable of supporting her, and not only capable, but he is also showing her that you don't have to work. You know that you actually do have support, and I am here for you, and you don't have to think about it, and you don't have to worry about anything. Take your time, chill out, relax, and build your business over time. But that's the challenge, like you're saying, that women are so used to fighting the fight. And I think it applies to anyone, really. It's men and women. But the challenge is to allow yourself to realize that, you know, sometimes in life, there are phases in life where you will need some support from some other people, from people in your world, from people in your network. You will have to use the safety net that you have around you, the support system that you have established. And so why do you resist that? What's the resistance all about?
And my challenge again to some people who will say, "Oh, I don't have a support system and I have to be independent." My challenge to you is that that is the life you have created. You have pushed away the support that you had. You have burned that bridge, and you can recreate it. And you can have support if you're open to receiving it. If you're not open to receiving it, why will you create a reality where you have any support? If you keep telling yourself, I must do it myself, you will not have people around you who will support you. So,
And this is perfectly relating to the previous episode about quantum physics and why that's actually the case, that if you choose that reality, you are going to recreate the same reality.
mhm. And the other reality is just around the corner, is to decide, I'm done fighting this fight, I'm done proving my independence. I feel I have done, I have lived that, and I have proved what I need to prove to myself. Realize that at the higher levels, things are built with collaboration and synergy and support. You have limits to how much you can do by yourself, and it's great that you have taken that journey and you have developed that power and that independence. Now bring that into a community, into a space, into a support network where not only you receive support, but you give support freely. You gift support, and you allow the energy to flow instead of being in this siloed reality, this island where nobody can get to you and you don't get to anyone really.
When it comes to feeling worthy of receiving, what's really important to remember is, first of all, that you are imperfectly perfect just the way you are, and there's nothing wrong with you, and you are good enough, and there is nothing for you to earn, and there is nothing for you to chase, and basically you can have what you want as you are, which doesn't automatically cancel the fact that, yeah, why not work on yourself, keep on working on yourself, keep on developing, keep on moving forward. And it reminded me of the conversation we had a couple of days ago, when it was all about, you have paid your debt. You have paid your debt already. There's nothing for you to keep on earning, to keep on paying off.
But what is the depth? Is the depth of suffering to be in this reality. My way of looking at this world is that it's an amusement park, and there is a ticket to enter, and the price of that ticket is suffering. And the biggest trick is to realize that you have to decide when the ticket has been paid, not anyone else. You decide, I'm done suffering, and you're done suffering. But suffering is a part of this reality until you make that decision and you decide the debt is paid. Now, just saying that is not enough. It's a commitment and it's an effort to stop suffering. It's not just a thought or a belief. You really have to work to stop suffering. And people don't get that. People think that effort is suffering. Effort is not suffering. Suffering is suffering, and there is effort that can be made to stop suffering, and there is effort that's enjoyable, there's effort that's pleasurable, and that reality exists. And that reality is found when you finish your debt, when you clear your suffering, when you release it. And that is the work, that is the real work, is to stop your suffering.
Let's take a specific example of what this means also when it comes to earning, being able to receive and not paying off the debt anymore. In my specific case, I felt like I owed something to my parents. And I think a lot of people feel that same way, where they have to pay back and they have to keep on feeling like they need to earn something. They need to go above and beyond to make sure that everyone else is happy. Well, in fact, it's just a vicious circle that you keep on swimming in this mud. It doesn't make you feel good at all. So why not to get out of that and be like, you know what? Yeah, indeed, I've suffered enough, or I paid off enough, and I have prioritized everyone else enough. And now it's time to take care of myself. Just like when my mom passed away, she actually, in fact, passed away because she didn't take care of herself enough. She was prioritizing everybody else but herself. And hence, she didn't take care of her health the way she should have. And that's why she died at 47 years old. So why am I bringing this example is because you need to really think clearly. Am I living my life as if I have to pay off the debts over and over and over again? And basically it's an infinite debt that I will never be able to pay back. Or is it enough at some point? When is it enough? Is it ever going to be enough? Or are you going to just, suffer for the rest of your life?
This is the as I said, it's a trick because there is no limit to suffering other than the limit that you put. And to realize that you have the power to stop your suffering, it's it's very difficult to believe that you keep choosing suffering. And 2 episodes back, you will see we recorded about this, the addiction to suffering. We spoke a lot about that, so you can check out that episode. But yeah, it's a choice, and you can change it at any
Right.
time.
Right. And one more tangent I want to also bring into the conversation is how to not get lost in reciprocation and feeling like, okay, I'm now obligated to do this thing. Now I'm receiving this support from you, and now I have to give something back. And now I owe something to you. And now there's debt again. Basically, I grow the debt again. I didn't even realize. So, any thoughts?
I think, as we spoke about, being transactional, a lot of people give and they call themselves selfless and helpful and they are the helper, but they're constantly buying credits and they're constantly expecting people to pay back very unconsciously. And then they end up disappointed and resentful when it's not reciprocated. And then they start pointing the finger, oh, they are so selfish. Wait a second. You chose to help. Did you make the credit explicit? Did you say, I'm doing this because I expect you to help me back? No, you just did it wanting to show how nice a person you are. Oh, I'm such a lovely person because I'm so helpful and
Mr. Nice Guy.
I do all these lovely things for people. And then I am the one who no one takes care of me. Poor me. You want to keep playing that identity, that mask? That's the only outcome is you keep feeling resentful and keep feeling disappointed. On the other hand, is the receiver, that you don't have to take on the debt that people are putting on you. If someone is giving you transactionally, decide either to pay off the debt or cut out that person from your life and have people who give, not give, they gift. So decide the people you want to have in your life. Are they gifters or are they givers? And the givers, do you want them or do you want to end that transaction? Because
Right.
if it is a transaction, then it's a choice. You don't have to make any transaction that you don't want to make. And if you realize that you are in this toxic transaction with someone, you can decide to stop at any time. If you have a person who's the savior, who's the helper, who constantly does things for you, unconsciously expecting things back in return, you can tell them to stop. And you don't need to protect their feelings and think, oh, they'll feel bad if I tell them I don't want their help anymore. That's not your responsibility. They have to decide if they want to feel bad or not. Let them make that choice, let them make that decision, and let them own that decision. Don't feel bad on their behalf, because that is again a program for suffering. And these are the kinds of things that people don't realize, how many things are just suffering is embedded in them and it's a choice. That example is very powerful because literally you can say, I don't own their emotions. If they feel bad, that's on them. And I free myself from that debt. I free myself from that program. But guess what? You need someone to help you and teach you to start seeing all the ways in which you're suffering if you really are serious about ending your debt. That is the way it is, because we don't get that education in school, that people teach us what suffering looks like, how it is a choice. That training is available, that teaching is available when you're ready for it. When you're ready to stop suffering, you'll find the teacher. And this is our marketing pitch, that soon we are creating a program, a training, which where we are making it accessible and affordable to work with us in a group monthly, where we will be teaching about these kinds of things and working with people to help them identify how they keep choosing suffering and how they can change that choice to become inspired, to become powerful, and to become free from all these obligations.
And to wrap it up, an example of how this would look like in real life, because I think for some people it could feel like it's a utopian paradise, it's unachievable, it's unrealistic, and what the hell are you talking about? That's not ever going to happen because I suffer too much and my problems are too big, and my trauma it's too deep, and things like that. How it can look like, and we both have been through it, and you have been severely traumatized throughout life. I have been traumatized in my own ways, and how it looks like in real life is that you come from the right place. We keep on talking about it in all the episodes that we are recording, that at the end of the day, it's about where you're coming from. And when you find that place where home is, when you find that place where you feel like you're living your best life because you are in alignment with who you really are, then everything becomes effortless. Even the effort becomes effortless. And that unconditional love that you live from is the place from which you share and support others and give and gift. And you don't feel like you have any obligations. You don't feel like you have to reciprocate. You do things because you want to, not because you have to. It's not a duty. It's simply who you are. And not because you have put this mask of a nice guy or a nice girl or being super kind. It's not a mask. It's just simply who you are. And you're not doing it out of compulsion, but you're doing it because it's an inspiration, and it's intentional, and it's strategic. Even it's something that comes from a place of knowing that you're doing the things uh in alignment with where you're heading, and those intentions are extremely aligned with how you want to see your life and what your belief system is. So again, it's a matter of reconnecting with yourself, with your heart, with everything that you ever wanted, in fact, and living from that place. That's why we are creating this program. And that's why it's not just a matter of giving, and playing this ping pong game of transactions, but it's you're creating a completely new reality where things flow, and basically you just enjoy life much more.
And just to be clear, like, talking about the utopia, there is a distinction between pain and suffering. The pain doesn't stop. There is pain in life. It's just natural. Things happen. There is grief, there is sadness, there is pain, there is anger. These negative emotions don't stop. What stops is suffering. And suffering is everything that you add on through choice. The stories that you add, the beliefs that you add, the behaviors, all of these are choices, and all of them are unnecessary. That is what you can weed out and live naturally, which includes the whole spectrum of emotions without suffering. And in that, the emotions move much faster. You feel anger, you process it, and you let it go.
Without dwelling.
You don't hold on to it, you don't enter into resentment for days and weeks. You feel the anger, you realize
You
what
don't feel like a victim. Oh, poor me, it's happening to me.
you realize what's happening, you realize what needs to change to stop that from happening again, and you make that change and you move on. Just in the last episode, we spoke about our family situation with the dogs. So you can get a very concrete example of that, that pain is there and we realize our lessons and we move within a day from something that was very traumatizing and painful. Within a day, it was processed, integrated, and shifted. And the next day, everything just kept flowing.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for listening. This is a wrap.
Yeah.
See you in the next episode.